What's up, you guys? It's Simone, aka Money Mo here, and what we are back. We are back with another episode of Triple M's. You guys made it all the way to season 3 with me. I appreciate y'all. But if y'all new here, let me get the introductions going, okay? I'm gonna give y'all the clubhouse rules. And in my clubhouse, well, when I'm on the mic, this is the clubhouse, and we're not gonna have no Dodger slander, no Lakers slander, no Rams slander, and we will not tolerate the hate in women's sports, okay? And you guys, a new season of the WNBA starts this week. Preseason games will start on Friday. If you have the WNBA app, please tap in with that. I believe some games will be on Ion if you have cable. And for everyone else, tap into their social medias. We just gonna have to wait until the games are on ESPN for you guys. But anyways, let's get into some shout outs. I honestly wanted to give a shout out to all the players that was called whose names was called out in the draft in April. Kudos to you guys. And I also want to give a shout out to some legends, okay? Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowles. You're looking at your Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2025. I wish we had a soundboard because you're getting all the standing ovations, okay? And then let's give a shout out to the Queen. Let's give a shout out to the Queen, Asia Wilson. That A1 collection goes crazy. The color schemes, crazy. The whole little fits. I'm gonna have to tap in with that, Asia. You own something with that girl. And then shout out to Angel Reese. The new Reebok collection go crazy. I'm for sure gonna have to get something from that. I gotta support the girlies. And then for my makeup girlies, shout out to Dejanay Carrington. She gave us she's not gatekeeping no more. She gave us the setting spray. She said, I'm not saying nothing about the setting spray until they gave me the bag. They gave her the bag and now she's not gatekeeping no more. Love that for her. Okay. But like I said, a lot has happened since we last seen you guys. You guys, Flicks is in the cut, holding it down. Shout out to Boss Man Flicks, you guys. I'm holding it down by myself right now. But Ella Deladon is retired. She hung the shoes up, you guys. We got to thank her for everything because, she's a 2013 Rookie of the Year, 7-time WNBA All Star, 2-time MVP, 2015 scoring champ, and 2019 WNBA champion. What a great career and a great impact she left on the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics. You got to give her those flowers right here, right there. And I'm going to give the flowers to everyone that deserves them, okay? But like I said, a lot has happened since we last seen you guys. The draft happened. Right now, the ladies are in training camp as we begin preseason. They've actually been in training camp for about a week and some days. I'm not gonna do it right now because we anti-Kathy over here, but it's the preview. It's the preview. We're not gonna throw the palm trees just yet because we're gonna say that for a couple episodes. But right now it's training camp. The rosters were released earlier in the week. Now they probably had media day all this week too, leading into the weekend for them to go out and play. All right. And yeah, check out those games. This is going to be a really good season. I think this is going to be a pivotal season for everyone because this free agency movement was crazy. That's first and foremost. And a lot of people, and there were some players that move that you would never think move. You have these super teams, you have these stacked teams. So for me to think the Liberty gonna go back to back, I think they have a good chance of going back to back. But there's some player movements that kind of was like, wow. The fact that Brittany Griner left Phoenix, I I thought I would never see that. I thought she would retire as the Phoenix Mercury, but she's with the Atlanta Dream teaming up with Ryan Howard, okay, and company. And then the Sparks getting Kelsey Plum. She's closer to home. I love to see it. Did I like that we give up the number 2 pick? No. But am I happy we got Kelsey Plum? Of course. I feel like I've been saying this. But let's talk about that other team that was in the mix. The Las Vegas Aces. Jewel Lloyd teaming up with Asia Wilson. Okay. That's gonna be an interesting matchup with but she's gonna be with, a fellow Notre Dame alum, and Jackie Young. So I think we just have to see the product on the court. All these rosters, all these key additions look good on paper. Let's see how they mesh on the court, okay? But I feel like if Flicks was really active on here, he would want me to talk about the aces all day. Or am I going to feed into that? No. We're gonna we're gonna get the show on the road. Maybe next episode we'll get into that because I do want to get into everything once the final roster cuts have been made. But I just want to briefly talk about the winners of the draft. I felt like Flicks is giving me the thumb up. Yeah, he said talk about the winners of the draft. Okay. Um, sometimes I'm sitting in a position, I'm like, everybody's winning because the sport is thriving. But I want to focus on three teams that, in my opinion, really won the draft. Okay. And I want to start from 3, 2, 1. Okay. I think sitting at number three is the Dallas Wings. Okay. Obviously, because they got the number one pick, they got the best overall player in that class, NCAA champion. Like the accolades of Paige is, we could write a novel about it, right? But with those additions they picked up of Dejanay Carrington, Melissa Smith, and they have just a whole different look, and then you're adding Paige to like that style of play, they're sitting at number three. Number two, okay, don't don't come for me. The Connecticut Sun. They had some really good picks in the draft. Anissa Morrow is a really good pick, and then they picked up the guard from North Carolina State. Okay, really good picks. Um, I like it because I feel like in a lot on one of the lives I talked about the rookie and vet pairs, and I feel like Anissa Morrow would really learn a lot being paired up with Tina Charles because back to the movement, like Tina Charles left the Atlanta Dream and now she's back with Connecticut Sun, the team that drafted her, and actually the number two scorer in the W right now is Tina Charles, and then it's like she could take Anissa Morrow under her wing, and the limit for Anissa Morrow is there's no limit. There's no limit for her, and I think she will thrive well in the W, kind of like similar to Andrew Reese as far as like the rebounds and the double doubles. I could see Anissa Morrow possibly being number two or even tying with Andrew Reese for double doubles. That's the potential I see in Anissa Morrow, and I think Connecticut did really good with that pick. But let's go into the top one, you guys. Drum roll. Washington Mystics. And you're like, Simone, the Mystics, they finished last season. Okay, but they won the lottery. They got a back-to-back pick within the top five. They got a back-to-back pick within the top five. Okay, they have the guard from Notre Dame, Sonia. They have Kiki from USC, and then you have those two paired up with Aaliyah Edwards, Big Mama Steph, Shakira Austin, and then you got Slim. This is a different look for this team, and I expect those two rookies to go in and make an impact. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. And then they also had Georgia too, but she tore her ACL. Prayers up to her and hopes for her speedy recovery. But those are the three teams that I think won the draft. Okay, but I really wanted to get on here and tell you guys about this because I need us to be tapped in early because I'm tapped in. You guys know I'll be tapped in. I'm doing my homework. And then I've been looking, I want to give y'all a list of some rookies that I think are going to make really big impacts in this league, okay? And y'all heard it here first because y'all love to be thinking somebody cosign. Okay, I'm going to give you, Flicks, how many think I should give him? Should I give him three or should I give him five? Okay, he said three. Okay, the one that I'm really expecting to make an impact is Anissa Morrow. Okay. Number two, Kiki. And I think number three is not a surprise or a shocker, but I think Haley Van Lith. Okay. Because she's with Chicago Sky and she's going to be working under, she's going to have some mentorship under Courtney Vandersloot because Courtney went back to Chicago. And of course, everybody's like, oh, but what about Paige? I think Paige is going to do just fine. I think the position the Dallas Wings are in, since they were in the bottom and like they didn't do good last season, but the season prior they made it to the playoffs. I feel like Paige will round up their team. And I think it'll mesh with Enrique as well because they're both scorers and they love to play off the ball and they could bounce off each other. Okay. And I think my only key for the Dallas Wings is for them to stay healthy. I think that's what hindered them last season because they weren't healthy. And then it's like if you're big three in actually two of the three, so two and Natasha Howard, they weren't healthy. So Enrique was out there by herself. So I think with the addition of Paige, she will take some of that relief off of Enrique. And then they also have the most improved player in DJ Nick Carrington. They have some pieces around and they're going to look better. And I'm also excited, even though she's a third year, Maddie Segrist. I'm waiting to see what she do. I feel like this is a year for her to really make an impact. Okay. And then let's piggyback to Haley Van Lith because I feel like Paige and Haley Van Lith were some of the two faves in the draft from that draft class just because of their following in college. I feel like Haley Van Lith will have a huge impact on the Chicago Sky, and I think the future of the Sky is limitless, right? I think they have a whole new front office. They have a new head coach. I think their expectations isn't as high as it is these other teams because they made a huge adjustment, but they have young talent that's fun to watch. And I think them adding a fun and an electric player in Haley Van Lith, I think that's going to be really a really good look. And they added some veteran presence with Ariel Atkins and Courtney Vandersloot, who actually won a chip with the Chicago Sky when she was there with Candace Parker and Kalia Copper. Okay, but yeah, I think the one thing I could say about this training camp, because like right now I'm talking about rosters and stuff, and it's like they haven't even thrown the ball up for preseason yet. Okay, so I think here's some keys to making the roster. I have four. I have four. If it was up to me, I'll give y'all a whole novel. If my basketball is, I'll give you a whole novel. But I'm gonna just narrow it down to four. Okay, so the first thing is be the player that you were when, that they drafted. Like if you're a scorer, if you could score at three levels, if you could do this, that, and the third, go into camp doing that because they drafted you for a reason. They obviously feel like the skills that you shown through your collegiate career will help with the team, right? Just be the player that they drafted, first and foremost. Second, it goes up in here. We have to learn the offensive schemes and defensive schemes on the fly, right? And that's a part of that transition. But learning the offensive schemes is very important just because the collegiate game and the professional game, even though they're both very talented, the skill level is night and day. And not night and day as far as skill wise, because everybody's very talented. You got to understand the WNBA is the 1% of the cream of the crop. So everybody is just as good as you, or some may be even better. So you kind of have to learn certain schemes on the fly because that could really be the difference between you getting some minutes or not. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then coach is not going to put you out there. They don't care if you came in with all this NIL money or all this success, all this money. Like they really don't care. So that's one. And then speaking of that, let's get into that T word I was talking about, the transition from the fast pace. Because in college, games are about runs, of course, but the fast pace is different from college and the W. And I feel like a lot of these ladies, they didn't really have a legit break. So like getting adjusted to that fast pace is a lot. Like I feel like the best way I could describe it is like every game in the W for them is going to be like a March Madness type of game as far as like the intensity, the game planning. And for a lot of players, that's a hard transition. That's why the W is the hardest league to stay in and, to make a name for yourself. And then number four, last but not least, master your role. Like I said in the first one, if you that player that they drafted, if you are that scorer, master being that scorer on that team. If you are a rebounding machine, master the rebounding. And since we talk about prime example, Angel Reese, like she came in not being the best scorer because her field goal percentage was low. But one thing she knew how to do was rebound that ball, and look what she did. Because I believe 15 or 16 consecutive double doubles because she did something that she was a master in. She was a master rebounder, and that helped her. That helped her stock in the W. Okay, so if any of the W players are watching, I just want to say good luck in training camp. I hope I hope you fulfill your dreams in your future. And for those rookies that, if you guys are watching this after camp, you might not make it, you know, it's okay. It's not over. This is the hardest league to stay in and to get in the fit in. But I feel like that's enough for preseason right now because I'm really running my mouth right now. And I just want to just hop on here and just make sure that we tap in with with the preseason game starting this weekend. And oh, last but not least, I'm gonna do one mic drop. I got two black sheep rookies, and y'all know if you know, you know the daycare. Pow Pow and Sanaya Fagan. You know the daycare. The daycare will always have a special place in my heart. But I think those two, since they were, I don't believe they were in high in the first round or the second round, but I'm surprised they got picked up that low. That's just my opinion. But the daycare, I'm always rooting for the daycare, especially this class. So I think that they'll make really good impacts on their teams. And Pow Pow learning under Jordan Canada, yeah, I feel like that's going to be a good look. But I'm gonna just wrap it up here. It's preseason. I don't want to give y'all the whole scoop. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, tap in with us, follow us on Instagram because we be going live with our pick and pops on there. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I will see y'all next time.